So I tell you the truth again. The white Jews always lie. The black Jews who don't take the white Jews' side always tell the truth. Do you think that it's really best for you to side with the people who want to make your race look good? Now let's think about this. The argument can arise that, well, this is a black religion. He's right. And we are white people. If we want to secure our rightful place, quote unquote, which we all know is bullshit. We all know they're not supposed to. Anyway, then we have to lie about God. Well, let's look at this, shall we? There is a debate within the white community as well. It's not just Eurasians versus Afro Asians or something. It is whoever sees it one way versus the greedy snakes who see it another way, right? That's how you slice it, right? So Jesus sliced it. That's how I slice it. Okay? So their argument is the whites who died for Christianity were nigger lovers anyway, who deserve to die. The only whites we should value are the people who killed Jesus and the other whites for trying to save the souls of whites. Okay? That's our real white culture. This is their argument. Let's not let any Afro Asiatics contaminate our culture with their compassion. Right? So what do you see from the white right? The white right's argument is liberals are a bunch of sissies who, bleeding heart liberals, right? Bleeding heart. They're talking about, they're wrong because they've taken on this heart, right? And what is the liberal argument when you really look at it? What does a satanic bitch like Hillary Clinton say to Republicans? Well, you have a darky religion. So their problem with each other relates to African characteristics. One of them says, you've taken on this Bethlehem kind of house of bread philosophy. When we are the Romans, we are the 9. We are going to destroy it. And then the Satanists respond by saying, hey, you're pretending to be a darky in the first place. You're a white man dressed as a black man in the first place. And this is why the two parties don't get along when you really look at the meat of their argument. It really has to do with white culture. And which Roman culture is going to reign? Is it the Romans who lied about God, who crucified Jesus, and then usurped the message on those white racists on the right who don't want to admit Hebrew as an Afro Asiatic language, and who don't want to admit the rest of the stuff I'll tell you in this video, and how it proves definitively that they are the temple of Baal bitches, versus the people who admit that it's a black patriarchal religion. Okay? This is Abrahamic, patriarchs, biblical patriarchs. It is an Afro-Asiatic patriarchal religion. So a bunch of white, Roman, Lesbos, Greco-Roman feminists are like, fuck those niggers and their big dicks. Let's kill their kids. Stop pretending to be them, to control them. Let's just kill them. That's the argument, man. Don't you see, man? Don't you see? Think about it. So the Democratic Party is the jackal party, the jackass, right? They are fucking idiots that took Seth's side. Okay? They say, let's use Apeps to swallow their kids. The Republican Party says, let's use wolves in sheep's clothes to swallow their kids. You get it yet? And the libertarians and the people who apply the Hegelian principle, they're like, look, let's just eat their kids together. Let's meet halfway and eat their kids together and secure the snake's place. Do you really think that's not what is going on here? Search your soul. In every culture, you have people who think they're right, and the other people are wrong. And the debates are similar, okay? Because we're human beings. It's like, look, let's do the right thing versus let's do what's best for our people, okay? And that's what the snake does, right? He thinks about the earth and what kind of dust, your people are made from, He's a dust eater, right? All he ever does is think about things of this world and detestable things that, snakes like to consume, including children, right? The snakes eat the children. And you have to admit, no matter whether you accept my Apeps explanation because you know it's true, or whether you're in white denial, you have to admit that snakes eat eggs, okay? They eat babies. So the characteristics of the devil, the most disturbing characteristic of the devil is that he eats the young. Okay, that is the most disturbing. And what is the leading cause of death in the black community? Abortion. So what you see here is the Babylonian eugenic attempt to deny Judah his rightful place in the divine order. And that is the story of the Bible. Let's look at Ham, Shem, and Japheth, shall we? let's establish that Ham and Shem are the good guys, and Japheth represents Babylon. Okay, so let's look at Ham first. Ham begot Cush. Okay, Cush begot Nimrod, and Nimrod founded Babylon when it was in its glory. And then you have Assyrians and other peoples coming, right? And Babylon the Great has fallen and become the dwelling place of every detestable and unclean bird. So these people with a serpent philosophy that came from somewhere else entered Babylon, okay? Now, they could not have entered the same direction as the people with the other philosophy. Okay, they're not going to walk on the same roads from Africa to Babylon. Like, hi, we're going to fight when we get there, but, no. These are competing philosophies from different directions. Okay, and what direction do the Jews go for their spiritual journey? Abraham, Joseph and Moses and Jesus. What direction do they go to get the bread, to go to school? Okay, where do they go to school? And where do the jealous people come from to confuse you about what is true? Okay. Another way to look at it is God gave black people and Jews next door the original land, the sacred land. He created them in their image. And when all is said and done, the blacks and the Jews had the most important land. And the Japheth guys were in the cold. They were left out. In the cold, they were left cold and bitter. And they became pale and indifferent over a long period of time. Now, for you not to see that this is part of the story of the Bible is disgraceful. The story of the Bible is the story of the push of the serpent toward Africa and the push of kind of Abrahamic philosophy toward Europe. And we see this play out again in Islam versus Rome. Okay, so we have a long history of white secret societies that are trying to replace the Afro Asiatic people who started those schools of thought and usurp them. Okay, that is the story of the Bible. The story of the snake trying to usurp the natural order, by using any dirty trick they can think of. Forbidden fruit, trying to trick people out of their birthright. Every dirty snake trick they can think of. And how Africans have to be shrewd as snakes sometimes to, fight fire with fire, so to speak. Okay? And so therefore, to fight fire with fire, to fight hellfire with divine light, or fire with fire, you have to tell the truth. You have to expose who the snakes are and where they came from. Okay? So if snakes continually come from the same direction and good people continually come from the other direction, what is the spiritual significance of this? And when Babylon had fallen and then they taken the Jews into captivity, was it not also a philosophical and spiritual captivity? Okay? So therefore, one way to look at it, if you're a scientist who focuses on this world and starts crying about how the devil doesn't exist, and you look at it from a very ignorant kind of Greco-Roman gay historian who doesn't want to admit the Africans civilized them kind of perspective, right? What conclusions are you going to come to? Well, let's look at some of the things the Europeans have said that contradict the Bible, shall we? Europeans have made the claim in Mormon writings and other white racist writings that Ethiopians are a people that were wicked from their beginning onward. Well, that doesn't make any sense, because their beginning is in the Garden of Eden with all of our beginnings. So what they're saying is that the devil must have made God in his image. The only way for the Ethiopians to be evil from their beginning onward is for Adam to be evil. But that's not the case. That is a lie. So therefore, whatever people told you, that the people who in Amos 9:7 are compared to the Jews, not Europeans. Are ye Japheth? No. Are ye Cushites? Not Japheth, Cushites. Okay? So what kind of a liar would lie about something so important to make his race look good? A fucking snake. You starting to get it yet? So the Jews are the children of the devil, and they went to Europe to recruit the people who think the most like them. That is the story of the Bible. And the Cushites think they're most like the Shemites, all right? Because whenever they did something, it was great, because they were the mightiest. Nimrod was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Nahum, Cush had a power that was boundless, right? So we are the greatest warriors. And the Jews, did what God said. And since we are great warriors, the Lord entered our heart and hardened our heart using our martial art, ka, ba, our chi, our ki, using our Afro Asiatic energy inside of us. He hardened our heart. So it's a story of martial arts and a serpent kind of warfare, mind, body, and soul versus this kind of righteous, falcon, dove, these clean, righteous birds versus these detestable birds that were punished by being forced to, go on their belly, right? The snake represents the dragon being punished for thinking that he's above the falcon and being forced on his fucking belly. He was like, look, I am a dragon. I'm the serpent. I'm as old as time. There were dragons before there was ever any falcons. I'm in charge. And God said, shut up. Get on your belly, you slithering snake. You viper. No, you cannot snake my chosen people. You snake from the garden. You are going to have to respect the order. And you are going to have to respect that Judah represents Afro Asiatic, not Eurasian. You are going to have to respect that. That's why he had a boundless strength. That's why, look, I am supposed to be in charge of all white people. And I really resent you for being so racist that you're willing to let every one of my white people burn in hell so you can look good on earth. Okay, that is disgusting. We are a Christian race for the most part. We shouldn't let people who deny that we are all Africans and that God is black keep us from going to heaven. Okay? God is powerful. The devil is a snake. Okay? What don't you get? You have white people playing with pythons and shit in every home in America. Okay? Cush had a boundless strength. Black people founded Babylon. Okay? So if you are going to represent God in a human form, and Hebrew is an Afro-Asiatic dialect, and God is all-powerful, and on earth, the black man has the boundless strength, and the Jew, the Semite, has the covenant with God. Who do you have to mix them with? Come on, man. This is not brain surgery. It's not. Why are you so racist? Why are you so racist? When you deny God's chosen, you deny God. When you deny the truth given to you in the Bible, you deny God. You deny white people the truth because you don't want to admit that you are beneath blacks in the divine order, and that is un-American. That is wrong. The only way we are going to make America great is by telling the truth, because we are a predominantly Christian country. We have to do what's in the people's best interest, mind, body, and soul. And that means admitting that Jesus was Afro-Asiatic, admitting the relevance of Hebrew being an Afro-Asiatic dialect, admitting the relevance of Cush and Nimrod founding Babylon, and then the snakes from Japheth being jealous, okay? Because in the Bible, who is blessed and who isn't? Okay, Cush has a boundless strength, not Japheth. Shem is chosen, not Japheth. Well, what role does that leave for Japheth? He's an Eurasian snake that entered Babylon and caused it to fall. Okay? And then, when he rose to power in Rome and saw this Afro-Asiatic philosophy trying to save the people of Eurasia, what did these racist, eugenicist, pagan devil snakes do? They killed the Son of God. How can you miss the difference between being Afro-Asiatic and being Greco-Roman influenced by Eurasian philosophy? How could you possibly miss that? How? And then you got these Romans telling you the story of an Afro-Asiatic people in their language, forcing you to learn their language, their culture, and see it their way. When the whole argument in the Bible in the first place, so help me God, as a black, white Semite who has them hiding with spiritual force, the whole argument in the first place, from Cush and Shem, the boundless strength and the prophets of Judah, the material that's supposed to be the capstone, not Japheth, but Judah, Afro Asiatic Judah. The story of the Bible is the story about how Japheth, for the life of them, cannot accept that their philosophy is not the truth, because they changed it when they went to Europe. And the truth started where we were. God gave man the truth in Africa and Israel. And a bunch of snakes in Eurasia have been trying to confuse you about that ever since. That is the story of the Bible. Okay? No matter how you slice it. Did Romans speak an Afro-Asiatic dialect? No. They were sea peoples, Roman. Okay, they spoke Latin-based languages. They didn't understand what was going on in Africa and Israel. Okay, when Jesus came, they said, "What the hell are you talking about?" You know, Pilate wanted to understand his argument. He said, "Bring him before me. I'm from Eurasia. I have no idea what these Afro-Asiatics are talking about. I have no idea. I'm from Snakeville. I'm from a brood of vipers. I have no idea. So bring him before me." Okay, now as a white man, because my culture is inferior and I don't want to admit it, I'm going to say, go ahead and crucify him. Because the Jews have always taken, the traitor Jews, the Babylonians have always infiltrated white culture. And white law has always allowed them to do it. Look at the history of banking. What was it? It was a bunch of traitor Jews, okay, using the white man's law to get the white man to defy God, and God has an Afro-Asiatic law. Okay, read a book, read a history book, read your Bible. Stop listening to your white racist Mormon preacher, your white racist Protestant preacher, your Ku Klux Klan preacher, because what they don't tell you about Protestantism. Protestantism is the white racists protesting African culture coming from the church. They're saying, no, we will not pay tribute to Afro-Asiatic culture. They are the people who continued the argument in Rome when Julius Caesar was having sex with Cleopatra and they were talking about, religion, right? Who was around then? You had Jews, you had Egyptians, and you had Romans, right? Around the time of Cleopatra and Mark Antony and Julius Caesar. So when the white people went to Egypt and tried to play Egyptian, did they last 15 dynasties and thousands of years before that? No. They last a measly couple hundred years at best. Why? Because they are illegitimate, and you cannot take the wrong material and put it in the pyramid. Therefore, the reason why it is the stone the builder rejected is because it is Egyptian Afro-Asiatic Freemasonry, and not Greco-Roman English Freemasonry. So therefore, the builder is the wrong builder in the first place, and he rejects the material because he's racist and concerned about how white people look and not doing the work of God. Why do you think white people can't explain these mysteries? Because they keep looking at it like a white man instead of like a black Jew. So you have, what was it? It was called Palmeiras. There's some place similar to the Palmeiras in Brazil or South America, right? In Rome, I'll look it up, okay? The Temple of Bel. So the Romans had the Temple of Bel. Bel, Baal, bull. Okay? Bull. Put a fish in a bowl instead of leave it in nature for the falcons to control the food of the falcon. Little things they do like that is symbolic of their Roman culture. Having snakes, the Romans and the Greeks loved to play with snakes because they got that idea from the Egyptians, but they focused on the snake instead of the falcon because the falcon glorifies the black man. Okay? So it is a Christian's duty to make this argument, and you listen very carefully. I don't care what you say. It is your divine duty to make this exact argument. This man is competing in a very noble way. You do not disrespect other Christians or other martial artists by shedding their blood unnecessarily when you can prove you are better without causing them too much pain. That is wrong. That is unchristian. It is against the Igbo martial arts code and the Nubian code, which founded martial arts. which says shedding blood unnecessarily in a way that's not consistent with God is taboo. Okay? So period. Now I am part what Nahum said. I am part what the Jews have always said. Okay? Nimrod, a mighty warrior. Nahum, Cush had a boundless strength. It is your duty to believe that black people fight better. That is in the Bible. And that the only time anyone can beat them is when Jews side with God, right? You know, they left, right? It shows the divine intervention. You know, why did they make Egypt the example? Because black people were the greatest warriors. And warrior culture determined who got the most respect spiritually in the ancient world. So whoever had the greatest warrior culture got the most respect. We were the greatest warriors. We founded things. God said the Egyptians have too many snakes in their midst, and they've confused them about what is true. So here comes the Jews, right? And they start arguing with Pharaoh about what's the right thing to do. That's symbolic of the Jewish people being correct, arguing with the Egyptian people about morality. Okay, this specific group of Jews. But when they left, there were Jews who were inspired by the devil when the Pharaoh had his heart hardened by God. You follow me? Therefore, that specific group of Jews had a less righteous reason to defy Moses than Ramses did. And there are varying degrees of evil, and we are judged by our deeds and misdeeds. So it is, period, the story of the Bible, that there's this one group of Jews that is the most defiant, ungrateful scum on the face of the earth. Right? Because they were given, God helped them out of Egypt. God gave them the covenant. God did all these wonderful things, you know, through black people and through nature and what is supernatural for the Jews. And they were ungrateful scum that went to Europe and teamed up with snakes who think like them because they did not like the fact that Moses and Judah were chosen and not these sniveling dogs. So they twist things like the facts that the Levites preserved the truth. The Levites' job was to preserve the truth. They took a cut of food and water, right? They ate less water, had less food. They took less, you know, of the spoils of things because they had the privilege of preserving the truth. And part of that truth is that these Greco-Roman homosexuals are unrepentant sinners. That is the Levite truth. You think Jesus came to contradict the people who accepted a decrease in rations and money so that they could carry the covenant? Oh, but Jesus came to, you know, contradict them. And Isaiah said nothing about that. Isaiah said the Messiah of the Jews would come to fulfill the covenant, basically, right? To reestablish the truth in the Jews' mind, because they had lost the truth ever since they lost Egypt. Okay? When they got the truth was when they were leaving Egypt on their way to the world to be a beacon of light for the world. Okay? So that's when they got the truth. When they started losing the truth, okay, is when they started questioning what the message was exactly. And that's when that caused a divide in the Jews. And it was so serious that God said, look, when Moses comes down, he breaks the 10 commandments and he kills the Jews who betrayed. He says, kill each other, right? So what happens? Who picks up the pieces? You ever heard that saying? We got to pick up the pieces. Remember when the Temple of Solomon was destroyed? What happened? They picked up the pieces. Okay? The people who picked up the pieces told you that these gays are satanic Greco-Roman scum and they will crucify the Messiah one day. And then they turned around and did. And you think that the Christians are confused about homosexual? Read Leviticus, buddy. It is unnatural was the argument. Now, who are the people of technology and who are the people of nature? Who are the meek and who seek to usurp God using technology and say the Bible isn't true because it has an Afro Asiatic message that teaches white people to worship an Afro Asiatic God, and it's only a matter of time before they realize he looked like me and not the Roman Serapis who came from Apis, the bull. Remember, the bull has horns. The devil has horns because he represents Molech, Baal, Beelzebub, the bull, Beelzebub. Another way to look at it is Bob. But we're not going to get into that, where Bob Marley had the half-truth, right? We're not going to get into that, okay? So there's the bull and there's Bob, like the Bob that used to work for me, like Bobby Brown, right, in the Hollywood. Whose name is Bob? You know, is Bob an African name? Or is it the name of the people who worship Baal in Rome? Okay? A Latin-based name. The language of the devil is Latin. The language of God is Hebrew. The culture of the devil is Eurasian. The culture of God is Afro Asiatic. The Jews who betrayed God took on a Babylonian or Eurasian culture, okay? And they went to Eurasia to finish studying that false pagan culture, okay? 1 in 10 Roman citizens were Babylonian Jews who learned how to toy with Roman law and to force the white man to do the bidding of the snake temples using their own law. That's why Pilate said, look, I find no guilt in him. There are temples here that say things that are similar to him, to what he's saying, wherever they may come from. And then there are people who want me to kill him because they're snakes. He says, look, I find no guilt in him. The Jews came back and said, no, this is your culture, white man. I call upon you to stay true to your culture and fucking crucify the Afro-Asiatic son of God. If you don't get that, go teach fucking how to be a Greek or something, okay? If you're not going to admit that that image is Serapis and that you need to put an image of someone that looks like me, then you are not doing God's work. You are the bull. If you don't say, look, this guy is from Nahum and Judah, for any Japheth guy to say that their arts is better in a predominantly Christian country is blasphemy. Their argument, these liberals' argument, is that their Buddhist religion has created superior martial arts and that they don't take Judah seriously because of their Roman social norms. That's their argument. Let me ask you, Christians, what side do you think you should be on? When the snakes say have dragon temples and they scream at the top of their lungs, we are organized crime. You better do what we say. We control Babylon's system, and his challenge is not fair. Which side do you think you're supposed to be on? You're supposed to carry your cross and say he is the light of the world. He's from the tribe of Judah, and that's not a coincidence that you serpents can't beat him. Fuck your Roman social norms. I stand with Judah because I carry my cross demanding the builder accepts the stone, as opposed to helping the builder reject the stone. The story of Christianity is the story of Afro-Asiatic people demanding Eurasians accept the Afro-Asiatic gospel. Which side do you think Christians are supposed to be on? You fucking snakes. Let's not forget, every day white people have used their network to send me messages one way or another, harassing me, saying, stop making our race look bad. We don't care if it's true. So here's the argument, Christians. There's a half white, half black and Jew from the line of Judah who's used his belief in Christianity to overcome every martial artist in the country with the most martial arts schools and the most different races. Kind of like Babylon, right? Where you have the Afro-Asiatic Nimrod, founding it. He started the martial arts like my people started it. He started Babylon. And then you have these liar snakes coming in and saying, no, our way's better. And you want the snakes to win, so Babylon falls again. You want the snakes to win, so Egypt falls again, like when the Hyksos came. When are you people going to learn? The snakes that come into the temple are the ones who bring down the temple. They divide the house. And the only people who are cool with them are the people who like to play with poisonous snakes. The scum who are cool with snakes. The scum like the people in the South who every year gather up, thousands of rattlesnakes and have a snake fest, okay? Who are the people that celebrate the snake? And who are the people that detest them and smite them? I mean, come on, man. Do you really don't get it? You really don't get it? You people didn't even speak the same language. You are the people that demand people speak a Latin-based language. We are the people who are telling the truth in an Afro-Asiatic-based language. And we said, look, we got to go speak in tongues to go deal with those white people because they don't know what the fuck we're talking about. Because they don't have the bread. They don't have the heart. So we got to go teach them how to have a heart because they are men of little faith. When it comes to ascertaining the truth, deductive reasoning, critical thinking, and understanding the importance of morality, I now assert that whites, Jews, and Asians are the dumbest people on the planet. The ones in secret societies. You have George Bush on TV saying flat out, the law that killed Jesus Christ is going to rule the world. And you have people in secret societies that honestly think they're the good guy. I mean, how stupid would you have to be, right? How fucking retarded. How much of an anti-martial artist would you have to be not to perceive what he's getting at? The law of, the rule of law, Roman law. America is a Roman system with senators, right? Senate. The rule of law. Okay, a globalist Senate, a rule of law, not the rule of Jesus of Nazareth, who is the King of Kings, who wandered the wilderness. Okay, but the rule of the Roman pitiful law. And what was World War II about? It was about a bunch of Japanese who know damn well black people are the true God race, and a bunch of white occultists who know damn well that black people are the true God race, and the Italians that killed Jesus, saying that we need an order that restores, that emphasizes Japanese rule over Asia, white Roman rule over the rest of the world. Okay? These people were not Christians. There were white racist Catholics that supported Hitler because they wanted white power, and they were guaranteed a certain amount of power if they rolled with it, as long as they maintained a white Greco-Roman Babylonian Japheth Apeps system. Okay? Do your research. I promise you, you will not be able to prove me wrong. On my ancestors, I am right. The children of their devil and their helpers are serpent scum. There's no way around that. It is impossible to be an honest historian and to not come to that conclusion unless you're fucking stupid. It is impossible to be an honest Christian, to want the truth, to love the truth, to desire light, and not come to that conclusion. It is impossible to be an insightful martial artist with a moral code who has done his research and to not see it my way. Thank you. At this point, if you believed mental health, law enforcement, military propaganda, big pharma propaganda, white racist groups, Masons, politicians, controlled left, right, middle, or any other white person doing things in a way to make white people look good, you need to admit you're a fucking idiot. You need to listen to people like me, man. You need to do that right now. Do you want your arrogance, your pretentiousness, your ego? You want to be a, egomaniac, or do you want to just simply admit that I'm the most qualified to tell you about God? And if you don't humble yourself to a black man from the tribe of Judah and listen to him, you will not go to heaven. I promise you that.